Miss O has been great in bringing the dog in, and they absolutely love it, so you can share that.
Well, I'm elected to go first because he's going to leave and go home, so he's not in the show today. But this is Uno, my therapy dog, and he's 5 years old. I have another golden retriever who's 6, also a therapy dog, but I think everybody thinks all dogs love to do this, and not all of them do. So my other one doesn't come. He doesn't really like it here. Not that he doesn't like people, he just doesn't like, I think, to be closed in the rooms, and after about 20 minutes he'll bark to leave. And Uno's really unusual in that he cries when I say, let's go, we're going to see the kids at work. He grabs his baby. He goes racing to my car. He's crying almost the whole way here. He cries, he pulls me from the thing all the way up the steps. And then he goes in all the rooms upstairs and he's looking around, and they're empty, of course, at 8:30, so he's a little disappointed, like, there's nobody here, you know. And then when he gets to a room where there's full of kids, then he just, you know, throws himself in there and just stands there and, you know, is, you know, being admired by everybody. I just stopped into this class because I was coming down the stairs and the little kids all saw him and came racing out, so I had to move into the room. So I actually started bringing him here for a day. It's usually once a week unless there's something in the schedule that doesn't allow me to be here for, like if I have an IEP or something like that, I don't bring him. But I talked with Ann probably 3 years ago. I had a student in my class. I'm the high school teacher, and I have the oldest kids that are 17 to 21. So I had a boy in my class that was having a lot of behavior issues, and he had Tourette's and several things, and he was kind of new to the school. So my husband happened to stop by one day with the dogs, and the kid, you know, gravitated to especially him, and I saw a complete change in everything. He was happy, he was laughing, he was smiling. Because of the Tourette's, he had a lot of cursing issues, and so we decided to give it a try. Like, you know, he loved the dog so much, what if I brought him here for the day and we saw, you know, how it, you know, affected him. And we were tracking his behaviors for various reasons, and we saw that every time that the dog was there, no cursing, no behaviors, literally from a lot to 0. So that's the kind of effect that these dogs have on people and kids, especially this population. It's funny, I've seen him in the gym, because at the end of the day, we're in the gym with the whole school, and he will kind of target a kid maybe that I don't really even know, a lot of times nonverbal kids, and he'll walk along beside them. I leave him, you know, on a very long leash, not this one, but I leave him on a long leash, and he'll walk with certain kids that not necessarily are paying attention to him, but he's paying attention to them. It's amazing to me that now, because now we've been coming for a while, so there are kids who were deathly afraid of him, or all dogs, I guess, and who are now running to him in the gym. There's one boy that so desperately wanted to pet him for years, so he would take other people's hands and make the other people pet him, kind of through him, you know, through them. So now he's not afraid of him, and he does pet him. So it's just been amazing. My class, what he does in my class, after I visit, you know, whoever, he's just in my room during the normal day, and he does this basically. He'll either lie down while I'm teaching, or he actually goes under some of the kids' desks, certain kids, and he'll curl up under their feet. And they're listening to me teach, but they're doing this, you know. So everybody loves it. We love it. He loves it, and it's just been working out great. Again, I usually only bring him once a week because, to be honest with you, he's exhausted at the end of the day. He really is exhausted. It's very hard to be popular. So, you know, he's kind of on the whole time that he's here. You know, people are coming in and out of the room. He has to greet everybody. So it's like he can't just like take a snooze. He's up, he greets you if you come in, then he goes back to sleep, then he gets a drink of water, then someone else comes in. So he's very, very, really, by the time I get him in the car, he is just totally zonked out and is out then at home for a long time. But the other thing is, just especially for the kids, is to know that the difference between a therapy dog and a service dog, it's two very different things. I had the dog trained. We did it through our advanced obedience, and it was, you know, a process. And then they tested us at the end to be sure that they could be in a hospital setting, a school setting, anything, a rehab place, assisted living, things like that. where there are crutches and wheelchairs, elevators, things like that. They have to be able to be in closed areas. They're supposed to, of course, not, touch food, which he's fairly good at, but again, if it's on the floor, But that whole thing is important. If you're in a hospital and medication is on the floor, they have to be, they have to be able to be obedient enough to leave it on the ground. If you tell them, if you don't tell them, obviously they're not going to do it. So I had to train the dog to be a therapy dog. A service dog is trained by, specialists. They're sent from when they're a puppy, and then they go through a whole thing of maybe a year of training, and then they go with whatever their new owner will be. So it's two very different things. Some people have asked me, that they, people like you, they would like a therapy dog for their kid. Again, you don't just get a therapy dog, but you probably either have to do that yourself. And I'm not really sure, the boy I talked about, he had a dog at home, but that dog didn't have the same appeal to him as this one did. So I'm not sure if this was your therapy dog and he lived in your house, if he would be anything different than a pet, probably, right?
I think from the little that we've looked into, it's not just that you find that it has to be the right dog,
Yeah.
if you found the right breed, it actually literally has
Yeah.
to be the dog, has to be able to show that it has the
Right.
ability to do it.
I
So
think
it is
actually,
a long, long process of trying to find the right animal and then
Yeah.
the training that goes involved in it.
I'm sure that those of you who own pets probably realize what the dogs are like for your kids anyway. But it is a little bit different, I think, when they see them here in the school setting. And they can come and visit him, and, he doesn't live in their house with them and all that. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about him or the training or anything. And by the way, this is he's through Bright and Beautiful. That's one of the big therapy dog organizations in New Jersey. So if you see people with these leashes, these are Bright and Beautiful leashes, and I have to be, they're bonded, they have to be up to date on all their shots and vaccines and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, they can't be in this kind of a place. He also sometimes will go to assisted living, which is where my mom is, on the way home, and he's just as good with senior people as he is with kids. But again, it's an exhausting day for him, so we try to sort of split that up. I don't think the seniors are as exhausting as the kids.
And also, you don't make house calls, I know, so I'm not gonna throw that out there. But I did a drive-by to her house with my daughter Anna in the front of my car, and
And
Anna's
Anna was
definitely
definitely
afraid of dogs. Because she's been chased, because she's in a wheelchair, she's been chased and has had a lot of bad experience with dogs chasing her, and so she's scared to death of them. So she was really frightened. We had both the dogs out there in the front yard, and I had the top down on my car, and Anna's leaning, and she wanted nothing to do with the dog. But after a little while, she didn't want to leave the dogs. They were jumping in the car and out the other door, over her lap, and she's trying to grab them. So she could tell how the dog,
Yeah, I think
this
they
dog
can
was
sense that
different,
when
she
they're-
knew that, so.
When we picked up, we have a Portuguese water dog, don't ask.
I'm not going
Crazy.
there.
We don't have enough at home, but she's beautiful. But the reason we actually got her, it's our groomer who breeds them. We have a poodle at home, and when we went, we brought Jay, and this place is so loud. If I can only tell you, it's like a zoo when you go in there. I mean, the audio in there makes me want to cringe. I love Jay. It's very, very loud. He really got nervous if he started to flap. He was really agitated the day that we went in. He had Rio, which is my dog's father, came out. He had let him out, and he literally pushed my son into the seat that was there and sat on top of him, threw his head in his lap, and proceeded to kind of bang his head in his lap, like we'll chill together. And it's that's when he started explaining to me that he knew people who did actual crisis management dogs, but it's a very costly process, but it's really, you have to find the dog.
Long
And then
training
it's about a
process.
year to 2 years, it's
With
literally
the person you're
yes.
training them with, because I looked into
family.
Yeah, the whole
person,
family has
every-
to take a trip,
Yeah.
train, do all the stuff.
So it's kind of on the lines of how they train the dogs that go into the military. It's literally that type of intensive training that goes into it. It takes about a year to 2 years.
But this has
It's
been
really
great,
fun
because
to
I
dog.
think you have a good point, if they live at your house, it might be different, but
Sure.
this dog is great, but I appreciate you bringing the dog in, I know you're
Okay.
He'll be exhausted, but.